Hey folks, Tom Rayner here. I am so incredibly enthused that Belay is the founding sponsor of the Church Answers podcast. We've always had a great relationship with Belay, and now we have the opportunity to work with them even more closely in this brand new Church Answers podcast. Now, I'm going to say a few things about Belay, but I want you to hear this personally from me, from Tom Rayner. I have used Belay for many, many years. In fact, I even used them before they were called Belay. I'm not going to give you the other name of their company before then. And what I mean is we have found these type of workers to be incredibly effective, incredibly relational, and Belay takes care of everything. You need an executive assistant, and they'll provide it for you. You need a bookkeeper, they'll provide it. They become a member of your team in many ways, but Belay is doing all of the heavy lifting. You know, many of you leaders, there's a moment in your personal and professional life where you realize that you may be in your own way. You know you need help. Let Belay come in. Delegating it to them. It may seem intimidating, especially if you don't know how they can do so. You don't have to worry about reading every email, scheduling every call, responding to every request. You have more time, more energy to work on the things that move the business forward, and you can achieve your big goals both personally and professionally. So I want to just say with a loud acclamation, welcome, Belay. And let me just encourage you. You've got to get this resource. You've got to get this resource. It's free. And it's called Delegate to Elevate. You pastors and leaders and business leaders, incredible resource to talk about how to do delegation. Here's how you get it. It's in the show notes, but belaysolutions.com/Tom Rayner, THOMRAINER. So start trusting your team more. Stop diluting your efforts. Empower yourself to courageously focus on your strengths and delegate your weaknesses. In no time, you'll do what you're supposed to do. Lead your church effectively, or if you're in a business, growing your business. Once again, we welcome Belay as the founding sponsor. And once again, get that downloadable at belaysolutions.com/Tom Rayner. Should you hire a friend to work with you? Legitimate question. And again, not a simple pat answer. I have done so, and I'm going to respond to it. But I'm not the only one who's done so. Many people have. Once again, welcome to the Church Answers podcast. My name is Tom Rayner. To say I'm excited about this new podcast, here we are now on episode 8. We release 3 a week. They're short. They're 10 minutes. Most of you will want to listen or view all 3 of them. But look at the title, see what interests you. And by the time you have listened to this, it'll seem like the blink of an eye. So enjoy them and find those that interest you. I hope you'll listen to some of them, watch some of them that may provide you just a bit of levity for the day. I try to include those as well. A lot of questions come to Church Answers, and we try to answer them. And one of the questions that has been periodic is, should I hire a friend? Usually it comes from a pastor on a staff, but there could be other organizations as well. Should I hire a friend? Now, the answer is, it depends. That's not a very good answer. I've given that answer for years. When Jonathan Howe and I were doing the Rayner on Leadership podcast, which I now do with Sam Rayner, he would ask me, he would kind of throw questions at me. Most of them were softballs, but some of them were unanswerable in the sense that there was not a clear situation to answer it. And I would just say, it depends. And so I became known as the it depends guy. And that's the way I would answer many of the questions. And if someone would say, should I hire a friend? My response would be, it depends. Okay. What are experiences of people who have hired friends? Twofold, the 2 extremes. One of the extremes. Now, when I say extremes, I mean some of the clear case responses. So extreme doesn't mean bad here. So let me just be clear on that. One of the cases is you hire a friend because you know they're loyal to you and they prove to be an incredible team member at your church or what organization. They're not only someone that has your back, but they are also someone that is a great fit for the organization. And you hired them thinking that that would be the case. You knew them. And so, you had the advantage of knowing their personality, knowing their family. And so you brought them on knowing that they're going to probably be a good fit. I usually don't name names, but I'll name on this particular podcast. I have hired or recommended to be on my team Brad Wagner 3 times. Brad and I met when I went to be interim pastor of a church in Dayton, Ohio. He was the executive pastor, so he was really, in many ways, my boss then, because I basically, the church was being led by him. And then after I finished that interim in about 14 months, I was also dean of a school in Louisville, Kentucky. And so I recommended Brad to be dean of another school when we had an opening. And so Brad was dean of a school and I was dean of a school. I didn't hire him, but I recommended him. And it was a great recommendation. He did a great job at his school at Southern Seminary. Then when I went to Lifeway, I brought him on, and through a series of promotions, he became my number 2 man. He became the executive vice president. And obviously, if I'm promoting him, he is an excellent hire. Again, excellent hire. He didn't come in with any expectations. He didn't demand any job title. He just got the work done. And then as we go to this next phase of ministry at Church Answers, I brought him on the Church Answers team. Once again, I knew it would be a great hire. I knew it would be someone that would be of great benefit to Church Answers. And so I just want to say I've done it right. But there are times for me and for you that it doesn't always work out that way. And the other extreme is when you hire a friend and in essence, they do not do the work and they hide under the cloak of your friendship. In other words, they are not doing the job they're supposed to do, but they think it's okay because you've got their back. And all of a sudden you're in this position of leadership where other people are looking at you and you've hired this friend and this person is not getting the work done. And it can be very frustrating for you as a pastor or as a leader of an organization because you said, my goodness, I gave them this opportunity and they're just not doing the work. They're just, sometimes they're not a good fit, but on other times they're just taking advantage of the relationship. That is possible. Now, you don't know which type of friend you're going to get in your organization until they become a part of your organization. It's very difficult to see. You may think you know that person well, but until you work with someone, you don't know them totally. So the answer to the question is obviously, it depends. You say, no, wait a minute, Tom. You've just said we cannot know for sure when we hire a friend. Absolutely. You cannot know for sure. You can have a good idea like I did with Brad, but you cannot know for sure. I've had friends that did not work out and I was really, really wrong and confused as to why I was so wrong. And you may be in that same position. So should you hire a friend? Well, here is the bottom line. If you hire a friend and you know that friend is a great worker where he or she is currently, and you've seen them proven, and you know that they are loyal to you and they will have your back, then that's time to hire a friend. But just be prepared. As I made it very clear, you don't know people well until you work with them. And it works the inverse. I've had people that were friends that I have brought on that now they are my subordinates and they look at me and they say, you're not anything like you were, like I thought you were. They're seeing me in the role of being their leader instead of just being their friend. So it flows both ways. So here's the bottom line. If a friend checks all the boxes, competent, loyal, good fit for the organization, at least as far as you can know, hire them. But here is the downside. Anytime you hire a friend, you have to be willing to fire a friend. And that's where it gets difficult, because at that point, the relationships become challenging. The relationships become frayed. In many cases, it's hard for the relationships to ever be restored to what they were in the past. That is the caveat I'm going to give you. You say, oh, I'm going to hire this friend. I know it's going to work out. I've said that before too. Hear it not only from the voice of my experience, but hear it from the voice of a lot of people who have hired friends. One of the most painful things that you can do is to tell a friend whom you brought on your team that it's not working out. So if somebody checks all the boxes, by all means, hire that friend. But be prepared, because at the risk of redundancy, I'm going to say it again, You don't know someone fully until you work with them. Kind of analogous to marriage, not exactly. I don't want to go too far here, but you don't know your spouse until you are married. You think you know. Well, it's not quite that intimate for sure, but you don't know your friend until you work with them. So be prepared for the downside. That's my little nugget of advice. Hey, by the way, become a member of Church Answers. It's just $9.97 a month. You can get answers to any questions at any time from your peers, from us, subject matter experts, and a ton of resources that are available to you. I'm not going to give them to you. You can just go look at the link and join that. We would love to have you where I can interact on a regular basis. Once again, downloading 3 podcasts this week, 7, 8, and 9. And I've got one more for you this week. If you haven't heard it, is number 9, the case for Thursday night worship services. I'll see you later. Have a great day. Tom Rayner back with you. Before we leave this podcast, to just thank again Belay for being the founding sponsor of the Church Answers podcast. Hear me very well. I said it at the beginning. I'm going to say it at the end. We have used Belay at Church Answers for several years. We've had incredible workers that they have sent us, and Belay takes care of everything. They take care of paying them. They take care of all of the what would be paperwork now, e-work. They take care of it all, and you are free to do the things that you need to be doing as a pastor, as a business leader. So go to Belay. Go to belaysolutions.com and do this. Go to belaysolutions.com/Tom Rayner. That's THOMRAINER. When you go to Tom Rayner, don't forget the H in Tom. And get this download. It is incredible. Delegate to elevate. I can just promise you with this download, you'll get new insights of how to free yourself to do the things you love to do the most. Thank you, Belay. Thank you for being who you are. Go to that download, belaysolutions.com/Tom Rayner, THOMRAINER.